everyone, I'm Lee Pacchia, and you are watching The Business of Law, the only web TV show focusing on the challenges and opportunities facing a busy legal profession. Bingham McCutchen, the very old and very prestigious firm based in Boston, is looking to merge with another law firm. Joining me now to talk about it, we have Sullivan. He's a reporter for law firms at Reuters, and he broke the story yesterday. We're happy to have him join us. Welcome.
Thanks.
So let's start with the basics. Why is Bingham McCutchen, the great firm, looking to merge?
Well, what Bingham's doing right now is it's reaching out to a number of different firms to sort of see what's out there. And what that signals is that there's just a lot of consolidation in the legal industry. Last year, there were 88 law firm mergers, according to Altman Weil, a legal consultancy. And what's causing that is that there's a shrinking legal market for legal services.
Right, we've seen a lot of economic turbulence facing the AmLaw 200 firms. Let's get a rough idea for this situation. How many firms is Bingham approaching, and which ones are they?
Sources tell me that they've approached 4 firms in the past 3 months. One of them is Morgan Lewis, which is a Philadelphia-based firm. It has 1,300 lawyers, practices in intellectual property, labor and employment. Another firm is Winston Strawn, which has this really prestigious litigation practice. The 2 other firms earlier this year were O'Melveny Myers and Morrison Foerster.
If a merger comes to pass, it's going to be a pretty large firm. Why is this happening now? What's changed from Bingham's perspective to necessitate them partnering up with someone else?
Well, what people have told me is that Bingham has had a challenging financial year. Last year, their revenue dipped. They've seen some turnover recently. There's just a lot of change at the firm at this point. And what's caused that is there's been a changing business landscape since the financial crisis. Practices like restructuring, securities work has slowed down. And what the firm is doing now is that it's investing in other practice areas. Their chairman, Jay Zimmerman, told me earlier this year that they were investing in tax, funds practice, private equity. And so they're doing things a little bit differently now. And so at this point, they're kind of, from what sources tell me, they're kind of seeing what's out there and gauging interest from other firms to see if a combination might be possible to gain a competitive edge.
If a combination comes to pass, is it your sense that the resulting entity is going to need to go through a round of layoffs, or are they just looking to get a lot bigger?
I think that they're just looking to get a lot bigger. I think that the firms that they're reaching out to, some of them are larger than Bingham, which has generated a lot of intrigue because traditionally Bingham has acquired other firms. But at this point, the talks are so preliminary that it would be too soon to say whether there would be layoffs, what kind of a structure the new firm might have. The news is really just that this firm has reached out to a number of different potential suitors, and just the fact that Bingham is a top firm doing that, signals that there's changes afoot at Bingham, and it could create a very large law firm. They may end up pulling back. We don't know at this point.
You said, this is a very preliminary stage of talks. Do your sources have any idea on when we might see a deal, if a deal is going to come to pass?
Timetables, no, there haven't been any timetables yet. I think at this point it's just kind of like the preliminary outreach stage. Whenever anybody tells me that a deal will be done by such and such a date, I'm always very skeptical.
Right, it's hard to put 2 law firms together. You have to get both classes of partners open to the idea of merging with another firm. It takes a while to get everyone's ducks in a row. That's
right, and sometimes the news of merger discussions between 2 firms can kind of create a little bit of, some questions being brought up by partners who see it, and my understanding is
makes
that
people nervous.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, at this point, my understanding is that the executive committee of Bingham had been notified that about these outreach efforts. Some of the partners didn't know about it, but we'll see what happens.
Part of the reason it makes partners so nervous when there is talk of a merger or precursors to a merger out there, is that sometimes in big law, mergers are done out of necessity. That is to say, if they don't get a deal done, the firm could fail. I mean, we saw that situation previously with Patton Boggs, where they were merging out of necessity with Squire Sanders. Mm-hmm. Is it your sense that we're looking at a similar situation here?
I think that would be a bit far of a thing to say at this point. Mm-hmm. The firm has undergone a lot of change recently. It's a very good possibility that they may end up not going forward with a possible merger and just choosing to manage business internally. Mm-hmm. They've conducted some targeted layoffs and pay cuts recently. So if they don't end up doing a merger, the firm still has other possibilities.
Still have options.
Yeah.
Well, it's a really interesting article. I'm glad you stopped by to explain it a little bit more to us. It's Casey Sullivan from Reuters. If you'd like to see more of the stuff we're working on, be sure to go check us out on YouTube, and you can always follow us on Twitter. I'm Lee Pacchia. Thanks for watching.